Hello, what's up everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka ReviewKingMB, and yes, we're here to talk about the top 10 worst movies of 2017. Man, oh man, we had some bad movies this year. As great as some of the movies were, there were some that were just the shits. And some of these movies I already talked about in my worst horror movies of the year. Yeah, some of them made it over to this list as well. But before we get to the top 10, let's talk about some honorable mentions, I guess we'll call it. We have The Cult of Chucky, which is such a disappointment for Child's Play fans. Can't believe they took Chucky in that direction. Flatliners. That was just a waste of potential. Like, it could have been something cool and new and taken that premise, but no, they failed. Valerian in the City of a Thousand Planets. I know some people probably didn't hate it. I'm not saying it's even like the worst thing ever, but the visuals were good, sure, but the story I thought was so all over the place. And the two leads, Cara Delevingne and Dane DeHaan, I think they're decent actors in other things, but they were horrible here. Just my opinion. And Rings. Wow, this I can't even believe, as bad as that is, that it's not on my list. But let's talk about the actual top 10, shall we? Number 10, Rough Night. This movie disappointed me because I am desperate for a good comedy. I want to laugh. I love to laugh. I'm almost easy to make laugh. Like, if you see some of my favorite comedy movies, you'll probably be like, really? You like that? Or that made you laugh? I do. I can laugh at almost anything. So if I sit there and if I watch your comedy movie and I don't laugh at all, then we have a problem. That's really your number one, almost only job. And you failed. You have failed this city. Rough Night. You had big names, Scarlett Johansson, a few other people, Kate McKinnon's being annoying as hell, like always. Number 9, The Mummy. Yeesh, Tom Cruise. I'm sorry, stick with Mission Impossible because you're good at that and you're good at running, which you do here as well. Sofia Boutella, I like in other movies, and it was cool to see her front and center as the villain. It was cool that they had a female mummy this time around, but this movie didn't know what it wanted to be. It had moments of trying to be funny and goofy, but just it couldn't be as fun as the Brendan Fraser movies, which is crazy to say because I never really thought about how good those movies were, at least at what they were trying to be, until this one came out. So much CGI, overabundance of CGI, and they even copy the whole huge giant face. Like, why aren't we ever in Egypt? Why is Russell Crowe coming in as Mr. Hyde and you have that random shoved in sequence of them having their fake ass shield and all of that setting up the universe stuff that was so crowbarred in? Number 8, Chips. Speaking of bad comedies, what the hell? I'm talking about Dax Shepard, who's a guy that I usually like, and his wife, Kristen Bell, who he's dragging down the mud with this film, and Michael Pena. They took this property, old property of cops, and just really gave us nothing. They tried to go the 21 Jump Street route of, hey, let's take something old and put all these dumb jokes in it. And I really have to blame Dax Shepard. He was the writer. He was the director. He's the star. This is all him. Number 7, Monster Trucks. Just because you came out in January, don't think I forgot about your ass, Monster Trucks. This movie was so terrible. And the behind the scenes, like the story of how this movie got made, how the head of the studio, his son, his like 4-year-old son came up to him and said, hey dad, there should be a movie about monster trucks. And he said, okay son, the Transformers movies make money, so I'm going to take your idea. You're basically the screenplay writer, and I'm going to make this movie. This film that was so terrible, so like horrible CGI with this creature that's in the truck. The main dude, I forget his name, he plays MacGyver now. He's in the truck and he's like, whoa, whoa, look what's going on here. Hey, look, I'm a high school kid. I'm a 30-year-old high school kid. Jesus. And Jane Levy, who just deserves so much better. She too is playing a high school kid, which, come on. And the plot's terrible. The script is terrible. I remember there's villains who are chasing them throughout the city as they're driving on rooftops. And I'm just, my memories. Hopefully I can forget about that movie soon. Number 6, Leatherface. Oh man, Leatherface. Here's a movie that they tried. They tried to give you something that was supposed to be interesting, that was supposed to be, ooh, here's the dark origins of Leatherface. But here's the problem. We've already done that with the prequel, but no, that was the prequel to the remake. So let's do a prequel to the original. Oh, okay, so you mean you're gonna take these kids who break out of a mental hospital and then you're gonna have them be chased by the sheriff who seems like a bad guy, Steven Dorff. Where the hell has he been? Like, what time vortex was he sucked into that somehow they spit him out and put him in this movie? And he seems like a villain the whole time, but of course you find out that he's right, that one of these kids will end up becoming Leatherface. One of these kids will be this evil killer with this family who eat people, and the only problem is none of this timeline matches the original. If you're telling me this is a brand new movie that's going to start their own thing, fine, but don't try to sell this on being connected to the original and then don't follow any of the events of the original. Where's the original family? Where's the brother? Where's the grandfather? Where are all these characters that are supposed to be important and crucial to this movie that you're setting up? And then, when you find out who Leatherface is, he's not even retarded. He's not even retarded. He's not even disfigured. The reason why he starts wearing faces and it's dumb. Number 5, The Bye-Bye Man. This is what I was talking about. Horror movies just bleeding over to this list. They were so bad I couldn't help but keep them on this list. The Bye-Bye Man was so terrible, so bad. Terrible acting, terrible writing. It came out in January, so what a surprise. And this creature, Doug Jones, like, it's cool that he plays all these creatures, but when you give him nothing to do, when you have this uninspired look to him, he's not even scary, and nothing's really even explained as far as his abilities and the rules, and they just do whatever they want according to whatever they want. It's dumb. It's dumb, it's dull, it's boring, it's forgettable, and it's terrible. Number 4, The Snowman. This movie, it's more sad because supposedly the book that this is based on is very good. That's what I heard. It's really good, great story, great characters. You carry over to the movie and you have Michael Fassbender, who's a great actor, but his track record with movies has been terrible. Remember Assassin's Creed? And I'm sure there's a couple other ones that are just leaving my head because I can't deal with it anymore. Wasted talent. His character is named Harry Hole. Do I have to continue on? And he's just a drunk who just wakes up in random places, but they never really get into the backstory of him all that much. You have a serial killer who's supposed to be a mystery and a surprise, but once you meet one of the characters, you're like, okay, you're obviously the villain. Obviously. J.K. Simmons with this horrible British accent. Yeah, you have Val Kilmer with his horribly dubbed voice and lines. Like, what? He has like 2 or 3 scenes where he's talking, but someone's doing voiceover and it doesn't match his lips, and then it gets killed off, and you wonder, what the hell are you watching? You have Rebecca Ferguson, who's a great actress, but who acts dumb as hell in this movie. So you don't give a fuck when she gets killed off. Number 3, Baywatch. Woohoo! This is one of 2 movies that I walked out of this past year, and I've never walked out of movies until this year. So that's how you know that these movies deserved these top 3 spots. Baywatch, look, once again, they tried the 21 Jump Street route where you take an old property, you bring it up, and you update it, modernize it, and have all these raunchy jokes. You have The Rock, who's box office gold. until this movie. You have Zac Efron, who maybe doesn't do great at the box office, but I liked him. Neighbors, you would think comedy works. And all these other ancillary characters who don't mean anything, who aren't funny. That one fat dude who's supposed to be whatever, that Josh Gad, but he's just not as good as him. You have the blonde who's supposed to be as hot as Pam Anderson, but she's not anywhere close. You have Alexandra Daddario, who I like her, but they made her a bitch in the movie. I just left because I did not care about the villain, the drug plot going on. That's literally just a carbon copy and paste from 21 Jump Street. The jokes being flat as hell. The David Hasselhoff cameo was terrible. I didn't even see the ending. I don't even know still to this day how it ends. And I don't care. I don't care. Number 2, Transformers: The Last Night. This franchise has gone on for far too long. You've rested on your laurels on this robot CGI that you've just been coasting on for movie after movie. Michael Bay continues to keep coming back with his horrible, juvenile-like jokes that are at its worst here. Mark Wahlberg, who, man, I can list like 10 movies where he's great. And I can list probably another 10 where he's awful. And this is one of the Anthony Hopkins. I remember just him being here to deliver these lines about the past and how the Transformers have been throughout history. And you're like, this is so terrible. Oh yeah, they were a part of Merlin and the Knights and all those. Like, what the fuck is this shit? And then you have Optimus Prime, who's my favorite Autobot. He's my favorite Transformer, and he's not only is he not in the movie for the majority of it, he probably has a total of like 6 minutes of screen time, but he goes off, does something stupid, gets turned into a villain, comes back to be a dick, and then turns good again, but by that point you don't care. Number 1, though, for the worst movie of 2017, it's probably obvious because it's the only other movie I walked out of this past year. 50 Shades Darker. Holy hell. I'll admit, the first movie isn't good. It's not. But this movie, it was almost like, oh, you thought that was bad? You haven't seen anything yet. We're going to give you this movie with horrible dialogue, horrible characters. These two actors and actresses, like, they have no chemistry together. Let's have a bunch of scenes of them having sex, but like nothing's happening with the plot. There's no progression. You have this random side story of him having a stalker, but that doesn't go anywhere. You have another side plot of her boss being a creep and hitting on her, and then that doesn't go anywhere. They constantly resolve every like 5 side plots. Oh, Christian gets into a plane crash. 5 minutes later, I'm back, I'm okay, guys. Where's the drama? Where's the suspense? There's nothing here. I walked out. After the plane crash, I was like, I don't give a fuck. Why am I torturing myself? I left, and I'm glad that I left. This film is a piece of shit. I know they're making another one, and fuck, God, I don't know if I could do it. It might be funny, right, guys, to watch me rant on that, but man, these films, all of these movies have sucked so hard. So guys, let me know in the comments below if you've seen any of these movies. What do you think of them? Like, do you hate them? Do any of them do you think don't deserve to be on this list? Do you have your own top 10 worst of the year? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!